UFC, the world leader in MMA. Experience it on FS1.
Tonight, before one of the most anticipated rematches in UFC history goes down for the light heavyweight title on pay-per-view, FS1 gets the final show of 2018 going with 4 tremendous matchups. In the featured bout, a future Hall of Famer looks to add another name to his hit list. Former heavyweight champion Andrei Arlovski still has the power to stop any opponent placed in front of him. But Walt Harris is equally as dangerous as the Pitbull, finishing every one of his UFC wins by knockout.
Oh! Sherman goes down, that'll do it!
Also tonight, Alpha Cat Zingano moves up a weight class to take on Australian striker Megan Anderson. Plus, surging bantamweight prospects collide. Douglas Silva de Andrade has finished 20 of his 25 wins, including 19 by knockout. He takes on Russian standout Peter No Mercy Yan, who has demolished his 2 UFC opponents with outstanding striking and power. And in just moments, a true legend of the sport makes the walk once again. The prodigy BJ Penn returns to the octagon for the first time in nearly 2 years. But can the Hall of Famer withstand the grappling prowess of Jiu-Jitsu black belt Ryan Hall? Live from Los Angeles, it's a year-end MMA spectacular on the FS1 UFC 232 Prelims.
We are in Los Angeles, California, where it looks as though the traffic on the 110 is free-flowing tonight. Great to have you with us for what is a huge night for the UFC. No fewer than 2 title fights in a matter of hours are coming your way on pay-per-view. But first, live from the Forum in Inglewood, California, we present the FS1 UFC 232 Prelims. Sponsored by Cerveza Modelo, the official beer of UFC. Closed captioning is also available for tonight's telecast. If you would like to hear the broadcast in Spanish, there is a simulcast over on Fox Deportes. All right, let us get to the rules of the octagon. 3 judges score the fight. The bout duration is 3 5-minute rounds. For championship fights and all UFC main events, we go 5 5-minute rounds. A 10-point must-scoring system is in effect. Round winner gets 10 points, his or her opponent 9 or fewer, and scoring is based on effective striking and grappling, followed then by aggression, and finally octagon control in that order. Also, so you know, the California State Athletic Commission has adopted the newer set of unified rules for MMA. We will also have the limited use of instant replay. That is to look at a fight-ending sequence only. So once replay is used, that particular fight cannot be restarted. And with that, thank you for being with us one final time tonight on FS1. John Anik alongside the legend Joe Rogan, former UFC bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz. And the first fight on FS1 for us, Ryan Hall taking on the UFC Hall of Famer BJ Penn. Ryan Hall in the inspection zone. Tonight's Fighting Spirit stats are sponsored by Cerveza Modelo, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925, Dom.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Hall has made a living off of the 50-50 position where he goes for leg locks. What's interesting about his attacks is he doesn't have a typical double leg takedown, typical single leg takedown. He will pull guard and just grab a hold of you. All he's got to do is touch you, and he'll pull guard and pull you down on top of him, and then he can tangle you up into all kinds of nasty submissions and nasty positions. He is hard to deal with.
Well, there are so many memorable walks in the UFC, but right up there with the best of them, the prodigy Baby J. So here is mixed martial arts royalty BJ Penn switching up the walkout song here tonight. I don't know how I feel about that, but here is BJ Penn Cejudo, 26th UFC appearance here tonight. Made his UFC and Pro MMA debut all the way back at UFC 31, May 4th, 2001. You were there.
Well, listen, BJ Penn has had an incredible career, unbelievable victories. He's absolutely one of the greats of all time. The question with a guy like BJ Penn is motivation. Why is he doing this? Is he doing this because he still wants to be a world-class fighter, because he wants to get back to a contender status, because he wants to one day fight for the title again? Or is he doing it because it's all he knows and it's his identity and he doesn't know where to go? This is where we are right now with the great BJ Penn, and we're about to find out tonight.
Well, let's just go ahead and say that this is his identity. Maybe he doesn't know what it is other than this. So we should be grateful that we still have BJ Penn here competing, doing what he loves. Whether he thinks that he's the world champion or not, he's doing what he loves to do. And him competing against Ryan Hall is a great adversary because we've seen BJ Penn's chin get tested in a lot of these fights. But we haven't really seen anybody willing to go to the ground with BJ. Ryan Hall is the opposite of that. It's not that he can't strike, but his gifts are on the ground. And can BJ Penn roll and grapple with one of the best grapplers in the world this day and age? He used to be one of the best grapplers ever. Is he still that? That is the question in this matchup. Or is he going to have to stand up with Ryan Hall and force Ryan Hall to punch with him?
Well, Ryan Hall, one of the few guys who wouldn't necessarily mind fighting BJ Penn off of his back. Let us see how it plays out tonight. BJ Penn turned 40 earlier this month. Ryan Hall, the fellow American, is 33. Hall, the taller man by 1 inch. He will have a half-inch reach advantage. All right, now for the introductions. For this first of 4 FS1 prelims, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Forum in Los Angeles, California for UFC 232, Jones versus Gustafsson 2. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record. 6 wins, 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 154 pounds. Fighting out of Falls Church, Virginia, Ryan the Wizard Hall. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record. 16 wins, 12 losses, 2 draws. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 156 pounds. Fighting out of Hilo, Hawaii, presenting the former UFC lightweight and welterweight champion, the Prodigy, BJ Penn! And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Edward Calantes.
Edward Calantes, the 3rd man in the octagon for this one. The great Brittany Palmer getting us started for round 1 between these credentialed jiu-jitsu black belts. BJ Penn and Ryan Hall, who ends a 2+ year layoff here tonight. Hall out of the southpaw stance is in black. The prodigy BJ Penn is in white.
I think Penn's going to be looking to keep the standing and try to hurt Hall on the feet and just use his takedown defense. But we'll see soon.
What we saw in the Gray Maynard fight is that Hall will throw a tremendous amount of kicks and utilize almost a karate-type strategy to try to get the fight to the ground. Throwing those kicks a lot of times leads to scrambles, leads to him being on his back where he is very, very comfortable and probably at his most dangerous.
Ryan Hall said he would have loved to have been more active. He accepted fights against Dennis Bermudez and Ricardo Lamas, but perhaps those fights were turned down by the other side. Ryan Hall, he's been pro in MMA for 12 years, but it always has to be something worthwhile. He certainly felt like fighting the Hall of Famer BJ Penn was worth his time tonight.
I like that BJ Penn moved his camp to Nova União for this fight. Went down to Brazil, no distractions, wasn't in Hawaii with his friends, really made an excellent camp down there, and looks good physically.
He does.
And I love that too, because I got to train with BJ out at his camp one time, and they just put on gloves and scrap every day, and that's about it. You show up at 4 o'clock and you fight in a dojo, and then you go home. And that's about all he was doing then. And now I know with Nova União, he's filling in the gaps, because Andre Pederneiras does not mess around with his team, and he's got a lot of support in that team. So let's see how it crosses over, because I think they are going to end up in the ground eventually here, because Ryan Hall can't just fight the whole fight from his back here and expect to win. He's going to have to attack.
Well, right away, what I'm seeing is a better version of BJ Penn than we've saw in those last few fights. He looks more focused. I mean, he's in a dangerous little game here with Ryan Hall, because this is Ryan's world, but he's defending very well.
The other thing I love is BJ's always had weird knees and ankles, like crazy trick legs. And what Ryan Hall attacks is the legs. So he's actually doing everything right, attacking the grips of Ryan Hall so he can't roll to those leg locks.
And BJ Penn back to the lightweight division, where he has certainly done his best work in the UFC for the first time since 2010.
Yeah, that featherweight cut was ridiculous.
Brutal.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who was the welterweight champ at one point in time. You see him get down to featherweight. And at one point in time, BJ fought Lyoto Machida at heavyweight.
Right.
I mean, which is just an insane prospect, but that was when he was at his very best, and he was just a maniac.
Penn fought twice last year, the first time he had competed more than once in a calendar year since 2011, so an extended layoff in advance of this one, but still keeping a more active schedule than normal.
Oh, that's
Ryan Hall submits BJ Penn in a blink.
Oh my goodness.
That's his signature move, and he's done that in every fight he's had. And he rolls to it, and if you try to pull away from it, it gets tighter. You've got to go into it.
Yeah, he tore that knee up.
Wow.
That knee's hurting right now, guaranteed. That was a nasty heel hook. The way he secured it was so tight and so quick, and that's most likely he tore it.
That's the reason people don't want to fight him, though.
Yeah.
Right. Palhares was one of those guys that was similar to that.
Except Ryan Hall lets go immediately.
True.
When you tap, he lets go.
Good point.
He's so good. I mean, his leg locks are the best aspect of his game. It's what we were saying earlier, that BJ was playing a dangerous game, and you really saw it there. When Ryan grabs a hold of that leg, man, he does it with perfect technique.
Unbelievable. Shout out to Paul Sass while we're at it, too. Let's get you the Move of the Fight, sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile. Get unlimited high-speed data all month long on the same network as T-Mobile.
And here we see there's the kick. He dives, and look how he, like, immediately locks into this, and BJ has to tap. I mean, it was just perfect. Perfect, and it's incredible leverage on one of the weakest parts of that joint. Look how he does this. Like, he rolls in, he's got his legs in perfect position. He turns the heel. It is just nasty. All kinds of torque on that knee. Let's see it one more time. He throws that kick, dives in, spins, goes into this roll here, and then immediately locks a hold of that heel hook, and just, it's hard to watch, man. It's nasty.
And that's spoken from a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Joe Rogan. So Ryan Hall making up for lost time tonight. The upside in this fight for him was to try to submit the legend BJ Penn. Mission accomplished. Joe will talk to him next. Stay with us. We're live on FS1. And there it is, the future home of the LA Chargers and the Rams, a rock's throw from the Forum here in Inglewood. NFL Week 17 is on Fox. Huge games with playoff implications. The Vikings take on the Bears, the Eagles take on the Redskins, or the Rams hosts the 49ers. It's all on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check your local listings. All right, to make this one official, here now, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Edward Galantes has called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 46 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by submission due to a heel hook, Ryan the Wizard Hall.
Congratulations. I'm here with the winner, Ryan Hall. Ryan, another fantastic display of world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu by you. But I have to ask you, what is it like to stare across the cage at a guy who I know was probably one of your idols growing up and absolutely one of the all-time greats in BJ Penn?
Just to compete against BJ is a surreal experience. I've learned so much from him, and honestly, he's one of my heroes. And if I could ever accomplish 1/10 of what he's done, I would feel pretty happy.
And let's take a look at the submission. You started off with an inside leg kick and went into the roll, and just absolutely beautiful execution of this heel hook. Please talk us through this.
Thank you. That's something that my coach Faraz, Kenny Florian, who's in studio, and Ton Lee over there have been working on with me for for some time, all this year. I haven't been fighting for a while, but I've been working hard, and this is one of the things that we've tried to do is blend the kicking and everything else. So I'm just glad it worked out, and because BJ kicked my leg hard a bunch of times.
Well, to have it pull off on a guy like BJ Penn, who's such an accomplished Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist in his own right, I mean, this is one of the reasons why it's difficult finding fights for you.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, no one wears an S on their chest. Nobody's Superman, but he's as dangerous as they come. Anyone can be caught, myself included, of course. It's an honor to compete against him, and if I ever get the opportunity, I'd be really excited to train with him because, again, he's taught me everything but via video.
Well, congratulations on an outstanding victory. Ryan Hall, ladies and gentlemen.
Big win for Ryan Hall tonight. His next UFC fight, he has said, will be back down at featherweight. His wife Jen gave birth to a son, Sean, back in August. Big night for the new dad, Ryan Hall. All right, here's a look at what is coming your way over on UFC Fight Pass in 2019. As usual, you'll get Fight Pass prelims for all UFC pay-per-view events, plus the MMA from around the globe you have come to expect, the likes of Invicta FC and Cage Warriors, submission grappling events, the Eddie Bravo Invitational and Polaris, also Roy Jones Jr. boxing and plenty of kickboxing and Muay Thai coverage as well. UFC Fight Pass, download the UFC app today. All right, coming up next, a lot of excitement for this fight at bantamweight. Muay Thai practitioner Douglas Silva de Andrade is a problem. 25-2 as a pro in 19 knockouts. Tonight, though, he is a decided underdog against the oncoming Russian boxer Piotr Yan, for whom in the UFC it has been so far so good.
One of the most exciting prospects of 2018. Don't think it will be long before his label turns to legit contender.
Now what you'll notice about this kid is that he doesn't like to take a step back. No mercy, no backward steps. Oh!
Peter Yan is ringing off combinations and wins.
Oh, this beautiful elbow there from Peter Yan.
Nice shot of Venice, California there. We are in the greater Los Angeles area tonight for the FS1 UFC 232 prelims, brought to you by Cerveza Modelo, the official beer of UFC. And as usual, the MMA leader closing out the calendar year in a big way. We continue to run clock as we inch closer to 10 p.m. Eastern, and the monster that is UFC 232, Jones versus Gustafsson 2, exclusively on pay-per-view. And speaking of which, it has been a wild ride for the UFC superstar Jon Jones. He has had a penchant, though, to thrive under less than ideal circumstances, and he expects tonight will be no different.
Since his victory in July of 2017, Jones has dealt with another doping suspension. But arbitration found only trace amounts of a banned substance, proving that Jones was not at fault.
All right, let's go. Nice and easy. Down and back, guys. Go.
The now former champion would persevere because leaving the sport was never an option.
If there's any time I ever thought about quitting and walking away from the sport, that was it. I mean, I was hated, and turning it all off is the easy way to deal with it.
Keep your eyes down the whole way.
You know, financially, definitely don't have to fight anymore. I could afford to delete social media accounts and ride off into the sunset. But, you know, I didn't do that. I came back and faced it, and I learned to take things more seriously.
Looking back on the first fight with Gustafsson, Jones feels a sense of confidence, knowing the bout took place before he learned the error of his ways.
I was right in the heyday of just being a complete party animal. Being up super late, you know, missing practices, being at practice hungover, not respecting what I had.
Jon Jones gets taken down for the first time in his career. Incredible. Look at that, haymaker over the top. Well, I'm very impressed with Gustafsson so far.
Since then, Jones has put in years of work at the Performance Ranch and enters the rematch a completely different man.
We're gonna just do some reaction drills. We'll go to the cones. So you're just trying to take a little quick step and reach. And rest. Yep. The difference we're gonna see is the focus that Jon is coming with. There you go. He really wants to show the world how he's grown and how he's evolved as a better athlete. It's gonna be fun. Push the knees out, good, and then just make big circles with it. Push the knees apart, good. That's it, big, strong.
You know, Alexander Gustafsson said, I don't know what his excuse is. He fought a diluted version of myself the first time.
Good.
At his absolute best. He was extremely well trained, and he still came up short. This time he's going to meet me at my absolute best as well, and let's see how he does.
And as we see here, I mean, 16 wins with 9 finishes, 4 hours and 13 minutes of fight time. I mean, that alone is a huge thing that really made a big difference in this first matchup with Alexander Gustafsson. But now that we're looking at it, Gustafsson has a lot of fight time himself. He's had 2 fights that have gone the distance, and the first time he fought Jon Jones was the very first time Alexander Gustafsson has ever gone 5 full rounds. And so now this is a completely different fight with the amount of fight time that both these gentlemen have. It's more equal. So let's see the experience factor. Does it still carry over with Jon Jones? That's what we don't know, as the time has been out and Alexander Gustafsson has been fighting. So it's going to be fun to see how the matchup changes according to the time spent and the weapons that they've been able to develop over this period of time.
Well, it was such a phenomenal fight the first time around, and what Jon represents is a unique physical talent, as well as a guy who is a wild man. And one of the things about his wild antics outside of the cage is he's wild inside the cage, controlled wildness, but with beautiful technique and a champion's mentality. He's a guy who overcomes adversity. We saw that in the Vitor Belfort fight. His arm was hyperextended, refused to tap, went on to win by submission. He's not just the hammer. He's a guy who also is capable of taking the shots, which we saw in the first Gustafsson fight. Even though he wasn't properly prepared, still came on and wound up winning the 5th round, which probably won him the fight.
It's a very salient point. We make so much about the physical gifts. We don't talk about the mental toughness and the heart nearly enough. It is UFC 232, Jones versus Gustafsson 2. A couple of title fights coming your way later tonight on pay-per-view. You can order UFC 232 right now. Forward marching, Douglas Silva, de Andrade, and Petr Yan are part of a bantamweight resurgence in the UFC. Now we will find out which of these 2 highly touted fighters will move into title contention. One of the top UFC rookies of 2018, Russia's Petr Yan extended his winning streak to 5 with a first-round knockout of Teruto Ishihara and a fight of the night decision win over Jin Soo Song. Tonight he will take on the biggest test of his young career when he tackles Douglas Silva, de Andrade. Winner of 25 of his 28 pro bouts, D. Silva has been showing off his best form yet in recent wins over Cody Gibson, Henry Briones, and Marlon Vera. And with his finishing instincts as sharp as ever, the Brazilian's focus tonight, as usual, is on ending this one before the judges get involved. Coming up next, Petr Yan faces Douglas Silva, de Andrade. Well, they don't come much more highly touted than this guy. Petr Yan, 25 years old. He's won 5 in a row, a perfect start to his UFC run at 2-0. A master of sport in boxing in his native Russia. Dom, and I know when you watched the film last night, his jab was really what jumped off the screen for you.
I mean, when I watched film of this man, I mean, you could see the levels of boxing that he has, the way he pieces together combinations, the way he makes reads. But really, it's his footwork and his in and out movement with feints that really add a big difference. He's also got some spin attacks that he throws in there that he sets up very well with the way he gets you moving from his boxing combinations. He throws long combinations in everything, never one punch at a time. He's quick and he's tall. So this is a tough matchup at bantamweight for anybody in the division. And the real question is, can he piece that together and build a long range of wins, especially against a guy like Douglas Silva de Andrade, who's a powerhouse with his hands.
Yeah, he's at that exciting stage of his career where he's all potential. 25 years of age, only has 1 loss by split decision to Magomedov, which he went on to avenge later in his career. And he's a face-forward pressure fighter who just gets on top of you and just throws massive combinations. He's really exciting to watch. And when you look at the style of his opponent, Silva de Andrade is a very similar type of fighter, but more Muay Thai oriented, whereas Yan is more of a boxer.
Petr Yan in search of the biggest win of his young career tonight as he draws Douglas Silva de Andrade. Well, this guy's got a Dominic Cruz-like record, 25-2 with 1 no contest. Douglas Silva de Andrade making the walk for his 6th UFC appearance. Big win over Marlon Chito Vera his last time out in February of this year. He's had a lot of big moments in the UFC, Joe. He has had some injuries as well. Had a 2-year layoff, multiple surgeries for the same hand injury. But here is Douglas Silva de Andrade at 33 years old, making his 6th UFC start.
What's interesting to me about this fight is because we know that Jon is so aggressive and has that just come at you style. What I like about Silva de Andrade is that he has more of a Muay Thai style. There's more weapons at his disposal, and if he utilizes that, if he uses more distance, more footwork, more kicks and knees, this could be very interesting.
I see Douglas Silva de Andrade style a little different. I look at him more as a Mike Perry style for the 135-pound division. He'll throw a couple kicks here and there, but really he's looking to lasso you in with overhand rights, left hooks, uppercuts up the middle. The knees are minimal for me from what I see from him unless he grabs that head and tries to Muay Thai clinch you. Other than that, he's too short to really try to fire knees up the middle. So I see him looking for power boxing, non-stop pressure. But the real problem is going to be dealing with the footwork of Jon because he moves so much in and out, he feints so much, and he has good hand speed. It could be easy for Douglas to get stuck trying to stare at him and land the big power and get picked apart from the outside. So that's what Douglas is going to have to do. Can he use his legs to create a little bit of range and then connect his hands after his kick lands?
All right, back live at Inglewood as we get ready for the bantamweights. 2 fighters with a combined record of 35-3. The 33-year-old Brazilian Douglas Silva de Andrade, the 25-year-old Russian boxer Piotr Jan. Jan, the taller man, slightly by half an inch. Douglas Silva de Andrade will have a reach advantage of 1 inch and a hook. All right, now for the particulars, back inside of Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a boxer holding a professional record, 10 wins, 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 7 and 1/2 inches tall, weighing in at 135 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Yekaterinburg, Russia, Piotr No Mercy Jan. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a Muay Thai kickboxer holding a professional record, 25 wins, 2 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing in at 134 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Castanhal, Para, Brazil, Douglas de Silva de Andrade. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mark Smith.
Mark Smith will be a busy man tonight. Chrissy Blair, thank you very much, Chrissy. Douglas Silva de Andrade, 5th fight at bantamweight, 3-1 since moving down to 135 pounds.
Douglas, ready? Fight's on.
Taking on Piotr Jan, who is in red. Jan, one of the bigger betting favorites on this fight card, top to bottom tonight, -315 at close. De Silva coming back at +285. He is in white.
Oh, left hook. Oh, kick by Petra.
It's a left hook and the overhand right of Douglas that's really lethal. And the jab and the straight, just the basic 1-2 and the feints that Jan uses really creates issues for his opponents.
And Piotr, you see him switch his stance. Sometimes southpaw, sometimes orthodox, constant pressure. And Silva de Andrade, I think, has got to land more leg kicks. I think that's going to be a big factor.
I agree, Joe. It's a huge weapon he's going to have to use, but really he's going to have to pressure Jan. I mean, he's got it. He's too short to be backing up and letting Jan use the range and the jab the way he's about to right now. As we're seeing, he's biting on all the feints of Jan, and that sets up the left hook right straight.
Look how Jan switches stances. He's so effective doing that.
Jan started boxing at 13 years old, longtime boxing trainer for kids. Only transitioned MMA 5 years ago. So far, so good.
Well, the reason he switched stance, I think, Joe, is that leg kick Andrade is finding early, and so he's trying to mess up the rhythm of it.
Yeah, he's just so effective doing so, though, and he does it seamlessly. Caught that one, dumps him.
for people that leg kick, that's what you got to do. You have to threaten the weapon, and that's what he did. He caught it, took him down, and now Andrade will think twice before throwing that.
D. Silva, not much of a submission threat, just one win by submission.
Got back up to his feet nicely, but he ate a left hand. Silva de Andrade is about as lean as a human can get.
Yeah, man.
The guy looks like an anatomy chart. You got to think that's a tough cut for him to get down to 35.
Yes. Made his UFC debut against Zubair Tuhugov at featherweight. That was February 2014. We've seen Douglas. Oh, nice uppercut there. He's adjusted pretty well in fights in the past. We'll see how he adjusts to Jan tonight.
Fingers.
Ooh. Nice stick with the right hand by Piotr Jan as we come up on 2 minutes here to go round one.
Oh, nice kick to the body by Jan.
Big right hand. I mean, Andrade fires that overhand heavy as anyone.
Oh, nice combination. Kind of stunning him with that left hand.
3-2 and then a 1. And anytime he switches to southpaw, he throws that left kick to the liver. There it is. It's going to come again. Anytime you see him switch southpaw, that's the weapon he's using. He pulls Andrade into it.
D. Silva partially lands with that right hand. Jan back to work to the body.
And the constant pressure of Jan just wears on guys as he's fought. You see he's always just out of range for the most part. And then he puts the pressure right back on after you miss him. And he never gives a rest to the guys moving back.
Good right hand again by de Andrade. Douglas is having some success with that right hand. And look at this.
Nice balance by Jan to stay up right there.
Oh, beautiful counter.
Oh.
He slipped that right hand and came over the top of it. It's like a pull two. Here comes a left kick. Ooh. And now he's switching, throwing combinations from southpaw as well. Jan really switching things up.
Entertaining fight so far, less than 30 seconds now in the round.
Nice dig to the body by de Andrade. Oh, beautiful takedown.
And that was perfect timing. He waited for the big, heavy right hand of Douglas and then shot right underneath it.
Jan finishes on top.
So a nice way to punctuate the round for the Russian. Round 2 coming up next.
Sit, sit. Put the eyes in his back. Let's go, wake up. Champion, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up. You let him dominate the fight. It's your dream.
Muita fita, cara. Cadê seu jogo? Mão com chute.
Fake, fake. Hand and kick.
Esse cara não te aguenta não, pô.
This guy cannot get you.
É sua família agora.
Your family, your dream.
Deixa eu jogar a mão sozinho não, pô.
Don't let him throw the hands. Breathe, breathe, breathe. It's the war, it's the war. Let's go, let's go.
Muda a sua vida hoje, isso aí.
Change your life.
Coming up on New Year's Eve, the Red Box Bowl kicks off between Oregon and Michigan State at 2:30 Eastern on Fox. Then flip it here to FS1 as 17th ranked Utah battles number 22 Northwestern in the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. That one's 6:30 Eastern, or you can catch it all on the Fox Sports app. All right, round 2 here. Piotr Jan is in red. 14th ranked Douglas Silva de Andrade in white. Jan does a nice job keeping that guard high.
Woo! Double jab, right hand down the middle.
Slick.
Very nice. And now he's southpaw landing, left right
nice
hand.
right hand, clean.
And that's what's tricking him is, you know, Andrade is expecting a left straight, and then all of a sudden he switches back to conventional, throws a right straight. It's just a lot to read. Oh, there it goes again.
He's tagging him. Jan's really finding his range.
Woo. It's the lightness of the feet of Jon that's causing problems for Andrade. Just in and out, good fakes, switching stance. Just too many looks. 3-2-1. That's his combination right there that he's landed over and over. 3-2 and then follow it with a jab.
29th pro fight for D Silva. He has never been knocked out, and he stuck the left hand there. Yet more forward pressure here from Jon.
Beautiful right hand. I mean, this guy's got so much potential when you look at him here at 25 years of age, really just getting his feet wet in the UFC. Nice dig to the body. He hurt him with that. He hurt him with that body shot.
He's been hurting him to the body with that.
Not grounded.
Again.
And what you see there is Andrade's trying to touch the floor so he can't get kneed.
Let go of his shorts.
And the new rules are in effect, so he has to be weighted down on those hands and feet. If he's like, he has to put his weight down if he can't get kneed there. He is not a grounded person, so he can get kneed here, and that's what the ref's trying to tell Andrade.
Yeah, and that is the very purpose for those rules in the first place. The guys are gaming the system, just sort of touching the ground and avoiding what would be a legitimate knee.
Right, you got to bear weight.
And look at the difference. When you take that away, this is what happens. He gets the front headlock, and now he gets put in a side mount. That's why the rules are in place, as you said, Joe.
Mark Smith, one of the better referees in the game.
And that is a hard thing for these refs, so you got to give credit for that.
Yes.
It's also hard, too, with language barriers, right? Certain fighters aren't understanding when you're telling them things.
True. We see here Andrade trying to go for the half guard sweep, but he's just too far back, and Jon has the lead on the positioning here. Now he's going to a spiral right. It's under the quad, and he's got a half Nelson. He's grabbing the wrist control, and this just keeps Andrade from being able to get his base here. And punch, punch, and then he'll go back to the spiral. Punch, punch, spiral, and then now he goes to the half. Andrade just starts attacking the legs. Back to the front headlock, and seamless transitions here for Jon, going from defense to submission to punching, being offensive in all positions, showing very good craftiness in every aspect.
Yeah, nice knee to the body there in the transition.
I mean,
he's got a big red mark on the side.
And you see the way he spins and takes the angle. He's always staying on the hip of Andrade. That's exhausting. Andrade is carrying all of Jan's weight. This is good grappling fundamentals, and he's doing a great job staying ahead right now, Jon.
And how about the pace, too, right? I mean, he's got great cardio, we know that, but he's quick, and he has been all offense tonight.
It's just great decision-making. Right here, Andrade is on the leg. He can do something to create a sweep here, but chances of him getting up.
Well, perfect defense there by Jon, the way he stepped over, and nasty elbows for his work. And another one.
And that's because Andrade's going for that half guard sweep, but he's got his arm trapped underneath the left leg, and now he's getting beaten down in the crucifix
one of those elbows opened him right up.
Crucifix is in, and he's got to get his right leg out, Andrade, and then get his right arm out if he's going to get up from here.
He just hit him with a knee to the face there. That was an illegal knee. And you see all the blood all over his knee there.
Great ground and pound by Jon here. I mean, pretty.
Andrade
keeps trapping his own arm.
He's going off on him here. He's really trying to finish this second round strong.
D Silva trying to control posture here and survive and advance to a third round. He is wearing it, but he survives. We're right back.
Douglas, sit. Put the ice.
Não quer que molhe, bota o gelo.
Douglas, respira.
Breathe.
Reparar? Don't blow it. No, don't blow. Tá bom, deu lugar mais não, tá bom.
O que você acha? Deu muito? O que você acha?
Não. Deu, campeão, tá bom. Okay, finish.
No mas.
No mas.
Okay, ainda?
They called it. That's, the corner called that, saving their fighter. And I think that was a smart call, I think, by the corner.
All right, we are back at the Forum, and the Douglas Silva de Andrade corner has just thrown in the proverbial towel. They are trying to prevent further damage to their fighter. Piotr Janjo is going to win this fight by TKO.
I think that was wise on their half. I think he was getting really beaten up badly in that second round, and he just looked spent. And they just made a decision. They said no mas.
You know, we don't see that as much as maybe some people, myself included, would like to see in high-profile situations, a corner man or woman get involved. And I think in that situation tonight, you got to respect that Brazilian corner. Their fighter was very damaged after that second round, and that is the first time Douglas Silva de Andrade has been knocked out, so to speak, in his professional MMA career.
Yeah, and if my corners are telling me that, I trust my corners to tell me that I'm not doing the right things, and they're trying to save me and keep me safe. And I got to give credit to this corner. Douglas wasn't doing the right things. He was kind of out of it when he was on his back, and I think that his corner knows that he's out on his feet, and they needed to save the fighter in this position to keep him healthy.
And I know there is no worse reality for a corner man than when you're backstage after a fight like this and your fighter says, dude, you got to let me fight on.
No, I mean, that's the thing. That's the point of having cornermen. They have a different view from the outside looking in. And as fighters, we're basically pit bulls. I mean, we'll pull on the leash until we go to sleep. We'll choke ourselves. And that's what cornermen are for, is to keep us safe, to keep the sport safe, make sure nobody has any real problems in these fights. And that was a good call, I believe, by this corner.
So Douglas Silva de Andrade falls to 25-3. No shame in that against the oncoming Piotr Jan. Bruce Buffer to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of round number 2, the red corner has stopped the fight. Therefore, referee Mark Smith is declared the winner by TKO, Piotr No Mercy Jan.
I'm with the winner, Piotr Jan. First of all, congratulations on a dominant performance. It seemed that at the end of the second round, he was spent. Were you surprised that they stopped the fight in between rounds?
Hello, Los Angeles. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to stand here. I understand my opponent, big weight. One round, easy work, controlling distensionals, and 2 round, little bit fast, finish.
At the end of the second round, when you were punishing him on the ground, did you have a sense that the fight was close to being stopped?
В конце второго раунда, когда ты наносил свои локти, считал ли ты, что бой скоро остановит?
Да, я видел, как я его рассек, я понимал, что еще немножко, если я включусь, я могу закончить бой досрочно.
I saw the cut, and I thought that if I'm gonna add more, then I'm gonna finish the fight.
Well, Piotr, you are right now at 25 years of age, one of the most exciting prospects in the division. Would you like to face a higher caliber or a higher ranked competition next?
Тебе 25 лет, ты один из самых ярких проспектов в дивизионе. Хочешь ли ты встретиться с кем-то более опытным, известным?
Да, конечно, я хочу драться с топовыми бойцами. Хотел бы подраться также с Линникером. У нас был с ним диалог, хочу с ним подраться. Он более опасен. Я хочу проверить себя.
Yeah, I want to fight top fighters. We had a talk on Twitter with Lineker, and he's a very dangerous fighter. I want to test myself against him.
All right, congratulations, sir. Piotr Jan, ladies and gentlemen.
So it was D. Silva who came in with the number next to his name. You can be sure Piotr Jan is going to crack those bantamweight rankings next week, and has certainly set himself up for a big one to kick off 2019. Our Move of the Fight is sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile. Get unlimited high-speed data all month long on the same network as T-Mobile.
I mean, we see here the perfect position of Jan behind the hips. Andrade goes for a leg lock. Jan feels it, sees it, does exactly the right thing. Then when Andrade goes for the half guard sweep, he starts getting elbowed bad. That cuts him open, and that really caused a lot of problems for him from there. Jon was just really able to unload and pretty much get the finish from there. The ref had to call it because of the corner, throwing the white flag. Beautiful technique, beautiful performance, and respect for speaking our language. You can't imagine going to Russia and trying to speak Russian.
I'm telling you. All right, here's a look at what is coming your way over on UFC Fight Pass in 2019. Fight Pass prelims for all UFC pay-per-view events. Also, the MMA from around the globe you have come to expect, including Invicta FC, Cage Warriors, and Cage Fury FC. Submission grappling events, the likes of EBI and Polaris. Also, Roy Jones Jr. boxing, and plenty of kickboxing and Muay Thai coverage as well. UFC Fight Pass, download the UFC app today. All right, coming up next, former bantamweight title challenger Alpha Cat Zingano moving up in weight tonight. She says she feels better across the board, and man, can she expedite a title run if she can get past the towering Aussie Megan Anderson. At one point, she was in line to face Chris Cyborg mid-2017. Now she is on the short list of contenders looking to chase her down. And speaking of which, later tonight on pay-per-view, it is Chris Cyborg, Amanda Nunes, the super fight.
Chris Cyborg is a tough opponent, but her name doesn't mean anything. She just another opponent.
You know, I trained really hard. I'm ready. The first time I faced off Amanda Nunes, I was ready to fight after that. And I want to fight the best one, Amanda Nunes, because this is to make the good fight. For me to beat Amanda Nunes tonight, I have to be Cyber doing my work.
Oh, several front knees now, and this could do it.
That's it.
Chris Cyborg.
I'm here tonight to make history, to do something no woman has done.
Big combination.
That's it. That's it. It's over.
I'm gonna be the one break Cyborg because I'm ready for her.
I don't respect Jon Jones at all. He doesn't have an answer for my attacks.
Oh, big shot! This has been the most he's ever been hit.
I think Alexander Gustafsson's going to be what it always is. You know, sharp boxing, a lot of footwork, pretty much running. This time, there's nowhere to run.
Head kick! Oh! He's hurt, and Jon is all over him. Here comes Johnny Bones with the ground and pound. He's out. Jon Jones is back!
Jon is the best fighter out there, but I know I can break him. He's not ready for what I'm bringing to the table. I'm going to make sure I put him through hell.
I've done a lot of work to get back to this point, and I won't let it all go in vain.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fox Sports Desk in L.A. Karen Bryant here alongside Kenny Florian, Anthony Smith, and Michael Bisping. And it is time now for the Metro by T-Mobile Spotlight. Enjoy the best moments of the UFC with unlimited high-speed data all month long on the same network as T-Mobile. Kenny Florian, start us off with Jon Jones.
My goodness, well, there's a lot to start off with. This guy really can do it all, but he did a great job of utilizing his kicking game against Gustafsson to keep him on the outside. He was stomping that knee, he was attacking the body, he was throwing a lot of spinning attacks, and as Michael Bisping was talking about earlier, it's hard to predict what he's going to throw next. Now watch this, that spinning elbow, another spinning attack in tight that really hurt Gustafsson. This one, though, was the one that really changed the fight, and I'm not sure Gustafsson even knew who he was in there with for the rest of that fight after that brutal spinning elbow.
Yeah, absolutely. That spinning elbow was the best moment of Jon Jones, but in my opinion, Gustafsson won the first 3 rounds. It was predominantly the footwork and the boxing that got it done. Look at that beautiful 1-2 right hand, opened up a big cut on Jon Jones. That troubled him throughout the fight. But look at that. He hits and then he resets, he moves, he gets on his back. He's not there for Jones to attack. And see what he did there. He gets kicked, he immediately fires back each and every time. He made Jon pay every time he went forward. And we see there again the hands, the nice left hook. Here we are again, you know, staying out of range. Oh, and this was the takedown in the first round. First time Jones was ever taken down. Beautiful entry and very, very surprising for a Swedishman.
It was, and I'm really excited for this matchup to see who made the better adjustments, who's evolved more, who's grown more since the last fight.
And, of course, it is for the light heavyweight title. That is it for us for now. Back octagon side to Jon Anik and the guys.
KB, fellas, thank you very much. Good to see Lionheart in studio tonight. So next up, it will be Megan Anderson and Kat Zingano. This is a big fight in terms of the landscape of the UFC women's featherweight division. And Alpha Cat, as usual, was fired up at the ceremonial weigh-in a day ago. As you see Megan Anderson there on the scale.
Yeah, Megan Anderson is a handful at featherweight. She is long and tall, especially with her striking. But what Kat Zingano brings to the table that makes it interesting is she's always been a big bantamweight. She's very physically strong herself, and she can wrestle. She's got great takedowns, and I think that proved to be a big problem in Megan Anderson's last fight. I think that's one of the things that makes this fight really exciting. The other thing being, of course, the experience of Kat Zingano. Right. But Megan Anderson is a real featherweight. Yes. She is not making bantamweight.
Right.
That's a big woman.
She's cutting a lot of weight down to 45.
Yes.
The FS1 UFC 232 prelims are brought to you by Cerveza Modelo, the official beer of UFC. Well, in just 5 years as a pro, Megan Anderson has established herself as an elite featherweight, but now on the sport's biggest stage, the Australian striker targets her biggest win against veteran star Kat Zingano. 2 credentialed combatants collide in this one, as former bantamweight title challenger Kat Zingano moves up to 145 pounds to face off with former Invicta FC champion Megan Anderson. Fresh off of a July win over Marion Renault, Zingano is more determined than ever in her unending quest for UFC gold. And given previous wins over Amanda Nunes, Miesha Tate, and Raquel Pennington, Zingano certainly has the tools to get the job done. Looking to put a halt to her plans, enter the Aussie Anderson, a winner in 4 of her last 5 bouts, with all of those wins coming by way of knockout. Coming up next, Megan Anderson takes on Alpha Kat Zingano. All right, so here's the confident Megan Anderson making the walk for her second UFC appearance. Made her UFC debut, Joe, in Chicago in June against Holly Holm. And she felt like there was some good in that Holly Holm fight, but the buzzword that maybe she was lacking was urgency. When she would get taken down, she wasn't getting up maybe as quickly as she would have liked. So with those 15 minutes now as a resource, she'll try to get her first UFC win tonight.
Well, it's all about adjustment. Holly Holm found a very clear hole in her game. That hole was takedown defense and grappling. Holly exploited that hole, and that's why Holly's a champion. I mean, she's a real world-class fighter. Megan learned something in that fight. Didn't take too much damage, though, and on the feet looked very formidable. She is long and dangerous on the feet. Now, having that happen, guaranteed going into this fight, she's improved those areas of her game. And she will know that Kat Zingano is going to be looking to exploit that.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that Megan can strike. I mean, when you watch the way she throws punches and you watch the way she attacks, fighting Holly Holm, you really see she's not just out there dodging punches and trying to touch you. She is hurting people. She throws almost very similar to doing the damage as Cyborg does on her feet. Now, the chink in her armor is that she can get taken down and sometimes doesn't make the right decisions on the ground to get back up to her feet. And if there was ever an opponent to have a problem with that, it's going to be somebody like Kat Zingano. And this is a test for both these women. Kat's been outstruck in some of her fights, and Megan has been outgrappled. So let's see.
Making the walk for her 7th UFC appearance here tonight is Alpha Kat Zingano. Says she found herself again and really made a lot of good decisions in that fight with Marion Renaud. Dom, your former teammate at Alliance MMA. She's an emotional fighter. Sometimes that works to her benefit. We'll see how it goes here tonight.
Well, the thing about Kat that when I talked to her that she's happy with is, one, she didn't have to worry about the weight cut. What she takes pride in is her power, is her strength. And when she was dieting, she didn't like the feeling of feeling withdrawn. So she might be one of these people that moves up and has great circumstances because of this. So what Kat's done is worked on her powerlifting, worked on her wrestling, worked on her grappling over at the arena with some top-notch black belts. And all this mixed in, she says, gets her back to her roots. That's what got her winning in the beginning, and that's what she wanted to go back to for this matchup. Let's see how she shows up, because Kat Zingano, when she's on, is a fun fight to watch every single time.
Yeah, she is a ferocious woman. And I go back to her victory over Amanda Nunes as a perfect example of that. Yep. She was hurt badly in that first round, wound up stopping Nunes late in the fight. She's very, very physically strong, and as you said, the weight cut has hampered that performance. I think this is probably going to be a better weight class for her, especially now at 36 years of age, when that weight cut is harder and harder to make.
Well, she certainly hasn't fought anyone with Megan Anderson's dimensions, but she looks forward to the challenge, and it is now minutes away. All right, back live inside the Forum as we get to the tail of the tape for this one at featherweight. The 36-year-old American Alpha Kat Zingano, number 5 in the world at present in the bantamweight division, taking on the featherweight Australian Megan Anderson, who is 28. Anderson, the far taller woman, but just 4 inches is the reach advantage for Anderson. All right, now for the introductions back inside to the booth.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding professional record, 8 wins, 3 losses. She stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 146 pounds. Fighting out of Kansas City, Missouri, by way of Gold Coast, Australia, Megan Anderson. And now introducing her opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding professional record, 10 wins, 3 losses. She stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighing in at 144 pounds. Fighting out of Denver, Colorado, presenting the number 5 ranked bantamweight contender in the world, Alpha Kat Zingano. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mark Goddard.
Mark Goddard, our referee for this one. The great Brittany Palmer getting us started for round 1 here of a possible 3 in the UFC women's featherweight division, where Alpha Kat Zingano now resides. Zingano is in all black, Megan Anderson is in green. Anderson still very much a developing fighter, turned pro in 2013, moved to Kansas City under James Krause at Glory MMA and Fitness September 2015. Anderson said she was excited to fight someone like Zingano, who she called a non-traditional fighter. She said, a lot of the guys I train with move the way Zingano does.
Kat clearly not interested in striking. Stay on the outside, hitting those legs a little bit. But in my mind, what I'm seeing is her waiting for that opening to get that clinch. And Megan's got to be real careful. Moving forward, looking for the big shots. There she goes, those long limbs.
That's going to be it.
She got
Fight's over.
eye.
So another unusual circumstance, but a huge kick for Megan Anderson. Maybe the toenail, Joe, or something in the eye?
The toe went right in the eye. I mean, she couldn't see. Like, this is so unlike Kat Zingano. Something must have happened.
Yeah, that was
very bizarre.
There are no words for that, because I know how tough Kat Zingano is. So something, either she could have an orbital issue. That foot did land in the eye, or it just poked her eye right.
It could have been a toe. That does happen if you get caught at the end. In fact, Mike Winklejohn lost his eye from holding pads for someone, then the toe went into his eye.
I don't know.
And that is seriously painful to take anything in the eye.
Let's take a look back at it. Our move of the fight, sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile. Get unlimited high-speed data all month long on the same network as T-Mobile.
We'll get a look at it here and see what went wrong. Here's the kick. Oh, yeah.
Yep, right in the open eye. And that probably, oh no, I hope her eye's okay from that.
The toe went right into the eyeball. I mean, and with all the force behind Megan's leg, I mean, that is nasty.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and it's very unusual. It's weird that we haven't seen that before, honestly.
Right.
I mean, eye pokes and anything to the eye can shut down anybody on earth. That is, when your eye gets poked, your whole body freaks out.
And the way she shut down like that and just stopped moving and hasn't opened up her eyes since, you know it's serious.
We hope for the best for Kat Zingano. We'll rehash it after this on FS1.
When the toe,
Later tonight, don't miss a complete recap of all the action in LA on our post-fight show immediately following the main event on FS1, or watch anywhere on the Fox Sports app. All right, to make this one official, we now turn it over to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mark Goddard's called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 1 second of the very first round. Declaring the winner by TKO, Megan Anderson.
I'm here with the winner, Megan Anderson. Megan, a very unusual end to this fight, of a fight that we were really looking forward to seeing. What are your thoughts on how it ended?
I'm just doing my job. I kind of backed off a little bit, waiting for Mark to see what he was going to do, and she looked away and didn't kind of answer what he was saying, so I just went in and he stopped it. So I was just doing my job, and I'd love to run it back. If she wants it, she can have it again.
Clearly you're just doing your job. And let's take a look at what happened here. You threw a high kick and the toe went right into the eyeball. Very, very unusual. But as someone as tough as Kat Zingano, when you see her react like that, you know that's a serious injury.
Oh, yeah, definitely. She's a very tough opponent. She's durable. She's tenacious. And we knew that coming in, she was going to be aggressive. And, you know, we just stuck to our game plan and, you know, shit happens.
I know this is, for someone like you who's getting experience here in the octagon, this has got to be very frustrating because you're coming off of that fight with Holly Holm, and I know that you've done a lot of work to try to tighten up some of the holes that were exposed in that fight.
Yeah, definitely. But for us, it's the fight camp. Like, I've been training nonstop 2 or 3 times a day, every single day, grinding. So that's where I know I've become a better martial artist and I've become a better person through that, and this is just the benefit at the end.
I know this has also got to be frustrating because it's very difficult for you to find fights in this featherweight division. There's not a lot of women here.
No, there's not. So please, guys, 2019, let's start signing some featherweights.
Let's do that. Congratulations, Megan. Megan Anderson, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, she's an absolute sweetheart and a damn good fighter as well. She has now won 5 of 6 and certainly on that short list of featherweight contenders as we get ready for the title fight later tonight.
And we really hope and keep Kat Zingano and, you know, best wishes. Get well soon.
How about the Power Sisters, the flyweight champ Valentina Shevchenko and her sister Antonina Shevchenko, also off to a good start in the UFC. And there's the former UFC bantamweight queen, Holly Holm, in the building at the Forum tonight. Well, in a matter of hours, UFC featherweight champion Cris Cyborg will look to continue her run of absolute dominance tonight against a most credentialed challenger.
We're hearing about Amanda Nunes, that she wants to challenge you. So if that's the case, would you prefer that fight?
You know, I always said I don't know to like fight somebody Brazilian. Why I'm gonna fight one Brazilian champion? Because I have a dream seeing all the Brazilians one day you were champion UFC. But she started calling me out.
All the girls don't do that because they're scared of her. But I'm not. I'm a lioness.
So here she is, the lioness. And when she gets you in trouble, she never lets you off the hook. She doesn't think about the next minute, the reset, the next round. She thinks about taking her opponent out.
But Cris Cyborg has been so overwhelmingly dominant.
Cris Cyborg!
Another victory for her. She steps in on short notice, just a couple of weeks, and dismantles Yana Kunitskaya. Amanda Nunes. Amanda wants it. Do you want it?
I want it, yeah. It's the fight to make. It's the fight everybody wants.
I text Dan White, like, I wanted this fight because I don't have nobody in my division.
No caso da Amanda, é uma luta que ainda te interessa? Você acha que essa luta ainda acontece?
Então, na verdade, eu tinha falado que, primeiramente, eu não queria lutar com ela por ela ser brasileira, e a partir do momento que ela falou, eu quero lutar com a Cris.
I know she's Brazilian, but when you become a professional fighter, to become the best, you want to beat the best.
She called me out, and when you call Cyborg out, you have to handle it.
Nunes gets her wish on December 29th, when she will challenge Cyborg for her featherweight title. An attempt to become the first female to hold 2 UFC belts simultaneously.
Fazendo história. Isso é o que eu penso agora nesse momento da minha carreira. São 2 campeões. Eu no 135, a Cris no 145. Então, com certeza, vai ser Copa do Mundo no Brasil.
Well, Cris Cyborg is the most dominant force in the women's MMA game at present, and she is hoping to stay that way tonight. As you look at the strike differential, highest in UFC history. She has, that is per minute, I should say, but she has outstruck all 5 of her UFC opponents by a combined margin of 335 to 97. And tonight, she's fighting a fighter in Amanda Nunes that a lot of people think is the most credentialed challenger she has faced in the UFC with respect to Holly Holm and some others.
I think clearly in terms of stylistically, she's the most dangerous. Amanda Nunes has legitimate one-punch knockout power. She has a legit black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Her ground game is top-notch. She's got real world-class experience in world title fights against 5-round fighters. This isn't the type of talent that Cyborg's been facing in the octagon. This is a real world champion.
She is, and more than anything, though, the biggest thing that makes the difference in this fight is, can Nunes be a nail? She's always been the hammer in the 135-pound division, so has Cyborg. The question is, being a little smaller, moving up to 145, she's gonna have to probably deal with some times where she is not the hammer. She's a nail, so you're gonna have to go through some toughness and come back and be the hammer later in the rounds. Can she do that? This is the next level of a champion when you're facing somebody like Cyborg, because Cyborg is always the hammer. She's always the bigger one, and so that's the question.
The thing is, though, Cyborg has shown that she can be the nail in the Jorina Barnes Muay Thai fight. It was a huge fight for her because she was fighting one of the most feared women strikers on the planet, and Cyborg has 0 Muay Thai professional fights, which is a crazy matchup. She hung in there. She got dropped. She kept coming forward. At the end of the fight, she was chasing her down. I mean, this woman's an animal.
She really is. I know Cyborg can be the hammer and the nail.
Yes.
I'm wondering about Nunes.
Yes,
Can
100%.
Nunes also be both? And that's what you have to be a champion. As we saw Jon Jones be a nail some rounds, come back and win the championship. That is the level of this fight that it's at, and that is the gift we get to watch in the women's division tonight. We've never really seen that.
Another factor, I believe, is Cyborg struggles greatly to get to 145 pounds. Amanda Nunes, going up to 145 pounds, may have a healthier body. When you get into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds, if Amanda Nunes can get in there, you might see a depleted Cyborg, particularly if the fight is fought at a very high pace. This is just dealing with the dehydration and just the diminishing effects of weight cutting.
And the other side of that is, does Nunes get wore out by the size of Cyborg? Hanging on her, trying to take her down, not being able to get the takedowns because Cyborg's a little bigger, a little stronger than anybody she's faced. These are all things that these ladies are gonna have to figure out and make adjustments to not use too much gas, to not try hard enough offensively, to not be first. They have to make these adjustments, and that's what makes this such a cool fight, is because, you know, Nunes has to use pure technique on a bigger human being, and Cyborg has to be smart here because she can get taken out by a highly technical Nunes if she's not careful.
And has Amanda Nunes put on the right weight? There are so many layers to this championship matchup tonight, and for Amanda Nunes, an opportunity to take out the great Chris Cyborg. You can see it all later tonight. Here is your pay-per-view main card for UFC 232. How about that pay-per-view opener at featherweight? Chad Mendes and Alexander Volkanovski, and of course the Jones-Gustafsson re-rack, about as highly anticipated as any rematch in recent memory. UFC 232, 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. You can order it now on pay-per-view. All right, coming up next, in the bantamweight division, these men were supposed to fight in November. Tonight, it shall be done. Brian Boom Kelleher taking on the Milwaukee native, Montel Jackson. Well, what a night it has been thus far here in the LA area, and of course, the best is yet to come. Stay with us as the prelims continue live. This is FS1. Milwaukee's Montel Jackson is about as no-nonsense as it gets. And tonight, he'll look to show the UFC exactly what he can do by lowering the boom on the more experienced Brian Kelleher.
Fight!
All right, here we go. Brian Boom Kelleher is in black. Montel Jackson is in white out of the southpaw stance, and we are underway. See a lot of aggression out of Kelleher, a lot of spinning attacks.
We're slipping and we're coming right back. Good movement, keep that up.
Jackson again trying to attack the body on that right side.
Watch your kick. Okay.
Ooh!
I like that. A jab to the right hook. Very nice by Montel Jackson. So far, I'm seeing very good range by Jackson, keeping it where he wants to fight. Nice inside leg kick. And Kelleher, he's really got to work to get inside.
The key right now for Montel is that right jab. And what he's doing is he's waiting for the right hand of Kelleher, parrying it, coming over the top.
I like how he turns it into a hook as well, Dom.
Yeah, he's parrying it, coming right over the top.
Oh, nice kick to the body. Excellent range control. Now Kelleher closes the distance. Oh, Jackson hurt him there. He hurt him. This might be it. Kelleher's in trouble. He's covering up. He's trying to survive. He's moving. He's got to scramble if he wants to get out. Oh, Darce attempt here.
Oh, that looks deep.
It does. Long arms, the long arms of Montel Jackson.
Oh, he went to his back.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, it's tight.
He's turning the corner, and he's going to get tapped.
Kelleher tapped.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Montel Jackson.
Very nice.
You talk
Very
about
nice.
busting into the UFC win column. His head coach, Jake Clipp, told me he was looking for a big, violent win tonight. And Montel Jackson certainly delivered.
The way he submitted him, too, he was turning as Kelleher was going towards the cage. He really couldn't defend. Montel was turning into him, and he didn't even have to hook the leg. He was in a perfect position to finish it because of the position of the cage. Big win.
Huge.
Big win for Montel Jackson. Here's the elbow first. This is what started off. Boom, that hurt him. And we saw the legs give out. He's in big trouble here, and Jackson finished. He came after him very strong, but also very controlled. He picked his shots, landed some very good shots here. There's a nice uppercut, but this is it right here. He cinches this Darce, and as he's turning the corner here to try to cinch up the Darce, Kelleher's legs are running into the octagon, and he really can't keep going. Beautiful, beautiful submission by Montel Jackson.
And that is the first professional win by submission for Montel Jackson. Came in with 5 wins by knockout. 4th first-round finish for Jackson. He is not bonus eligible tonight because he did miss weight, but that is a huge result for the Milwaukee native tonight. Now Bruce Buffer to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Edward Colantes has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 40 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by submission due to a Darce choke, Montel Quick Jackson!
Send your money back to you for the wait list because of what happened in New York.
Thank you, man.
No problem. You deserve the other families.
Thank you.
I'm here with the winner, Montel Jackson. First of all, sir, congratulations on an excellent performance. You hurt him with that elbow, took your time on the ground, but cinched up a beautiful Darce to finish him off for the first submission victory of your career. How good does that feel?
It don't feel too good. I missed weight. No excuse on that. Hats off to Brian. And thank everybody for coming out, making the trip. I know UFC had some hiccups. Thank all you guys. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be living this dream, so thank you all.
Let's take a look at the finish. Montel, you clipped him with this elbow against the cage, and this is a beautiful short-range elbow. You timed it perfectly. You sensed he was hurt. Tell us what was going through your mind right here.
I gotta take my time and don't make any mistakes. That costed me like the contract on the Dana Contender Series, being sloppy and rushing things. So I had to take my time and be a little more patient.
Well, you look very professional tonight. Congratulations on an outstanding victory. Montel Jackson, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, coming up next, we will get to our featured prelim of the night. Andrei Arlovsky turned pro back in 1999. Once again, though, he says it was an outstanding training camp as he comes up on his 46th professional MMA fight tonight. Against that man, the big ticket, Walt Harris. All of his 11 wins have ended by knockout. He will try to make it an even dozen tonight against the respected veteran and former champion, Arlovsky. The Griffith Observatory in downtown Los Angeles. We're here for the FS1 UFC 232 prelim, sponsored by Cerveza Modelo, the official beer of UFC. And we are counting down the minutes until UFC 232, Jones versus Gustafsson 2. Just a half hour on the nose to go. If you have not done so already, it is time to order UFC 232 on pay-per-view. All right, as we get ready for this featured prelim, we show you the UFC heavyweight rankings. Bottom two-thirds of the top 15. Andrei Arlovsky entrenched at number 13 in the world, and Dominic Walt Harris, 35 years old. He believes his time to make a real concerted run is now.
I mean, if you're going to watch this guy, make sure you don't blink in the first round. All his wins come by knockout, and 9 of them are in the first round. So if you're going to keep an eye out on the first round of any fight, it's going to be this one, these big boys. Andrei Arlovsky, no stranger to knocking people out. Always been in the big limelight, always fought on some of the biggest fights on earth, and here he is again, still competing. I mean, these guys are going to put on an awesome fight, and if you want to see somebody get knocked out, you're going to want to watch this one.
All right, let us get to it. Arlovsky and Harris to officially close out this UFC era on FS1. A former UFC heavyweight champ who has fought and beaten the best of his era. Andrei Arlovsky's legacy is entrenched, but there is still plenty of fire left as he approaches this clash tonight with the big ticket, Walt Harris. Alabama's Walt Harris has utilized his striking game to great effect over the course of his UFC career, with all 4 of his wins over Cody East, Chase Sherman, Cyril Asgare, and Daniel Spitz coming by knockout. Now entering his fighting prime, Harris is prepared to make his leap to the next level, and that begins with this showdown against former world heavyweight champion Andrei Arlovsky. Showing there is still plenty of fight left in him at age 39, Arlovsky's recent wins over Junior Albini and Stefan Struve have him focused on a return to the top in 2019. But first, he has to close out 2018 in style by cashing in against the big ticket. Coming up next, Walt the Big Ticket Harris squares off against Andrei the Pitbull Arlovsky. college basketball standout, former Alabama and Georgia Golden Gloves champion. Here is the affable Walt, the big ticket Harris, making the walk for his 11th UFC appearance. And Dom, don't let the UFC record fool you. This is a credentialed heavyweight striker who is looking to reel in a big one tonight.
Well, anybody with 9 knockouts in the first round is credentialed. I mean, this guy's got the finishing ability. He mixes it up. I've seen him grapple people. I've seen him get up from the bottom. I've seen him knock people out. He's a full MMA fighter. The question is, can he deal with somebody like Arlovski, who's got more experience, more fights, and can do all the same things that Walt can? Is he younger? Is he faster? Is he stronger? Is he new and improved? Or is he not still as good as Andre Arlovski, who's been around since the beginning?
What I've seen from Walt Harris is every fight he seems smoother, more efficient, puts his combinations together better, and he capitalizes on openings. This man has some serious power, and if he connects, you're going night-night. The thing about Andre Arlovski is, even at 39 years of age, even with all the fight experience, all the wars he's been in, the man can still do it. I mean, every time you count Andre Arlovski out, he comes back with like that big win over Travis Brown. He's still in the game. And that's what makes this fight interesting.
So here he is, the Pitbull Andre Arlovski, making his 28th UFC appearance here tonight. And count this man out, Joe, at your own peril. You know, a lot of people left him for dead in 2011. He lost 4 in a row. People called the chin into question. Fast forward 7 years. He's had a lot of big wins since then, and still getting it done at times here at the Big Show.
The thing about Andre Arlovski is he's never lost his enthusiasm to continue to improve. That is one of the big factors with older fighters. They get to a certain point and they realize they're not going to be a champion again, or they lose the faith, and they just don't have the same intensity. He still has that intensity. You can't get past the wars that he's been in. He's absolutely taken a tremendous amount of damage in his career, but he's still really durable. He's a phenomenon. I mean, he really is a very unusual guy in that respect.
You know, this guy started fighting because, believe it or not, he was bullied at 14 years old. So he started lifting weights, and then he ended up getting into the police academy where it was required for him to practice Sambo. From that Sambo, it just snowballed, and he started picking up every other type of martial art there was. And now here he is today from 14 getting bullied to now he's trying to bully everybody else in this octagon. The thing about Andre Arlovski is the way that he's able to stay in these fights no matter what. They say power is the last thing to go as you grow in age, but he clearly hasn't lost that, and he's definitely got the experience. Let's see if the durability is still there.
All right, the heavyweights have hit the proving ground. Let's get you the tail of the tape. For this featured prelim, Andre Arlovski still going, 39 years old, 46th professional fight against the 35-year-old Walt Harris. Walt Harris, the taller man by 2 inches, both fighters with a reach of 77 inches. All right, now for the introductions, back inside to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a freestyle fighter holding a professional record, 11 wins, 7 losses. He stands 6 feet 5 inches tall, weighing in at 258.5 pounds. Fighting out of Birmingham, Alabama, Walt the Big Ticket Harris. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 27 wins, 17 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 245.5 pounds. Fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, presenting the former UFC heavyweight champion, Andre the Pitbull Arlovski. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mike Beltran.
How about the wins list for Andre Arlovski? Fabricio Verdum, Frank Mir, Vladimir Matyushenko, Roy Nelson, Travis Brown, Ben Rothwell, Bigfoot Silva. He's faced Fedor Emelianenko, Stipe Miocic, Francis Ngannou, Alistair Overeem.
All right, gentlemen, first
tonight.
round. You ready to fight?
He chases a 17th UFC win against Walt the Big Ticket Harris. Harris, the -185 favorite out of the southpaw stance. Arlovsky coming back the +150 underdog. He is in black.
And as a southpaw versus the conventional, you got to watch the left leg of Harris and the left straight of Harris. Those are going to be his weapons, and the right straight of Arlovsky.
Arlovsky's last 4 fights have all gone the distance.
The right hand lands of Arlovsky, saying he got poked in the eye. Ref doesn't care.
Little protest there by Arlovsky for a possible groin strike.
Oh, yeah.
Harris able to avoid the takedown there. About a minute in. Walt Harris feels like the mental game is starting to catch up with the physical. He did have a training camp change in advance of this one, formerly with Champions Freestyle MMA, now at Spartan MMA alongside UFC middleweight Eric Anders. The Alabama boys sticking together.
Right hook lands for Harris, heavier than the right hand. The right hook landed of Harris, real heavy on Arlovsky's chin.
It looked like the straight left landed as well.
Yep. Ooh, I think they hit heads on that one a little.
Yeah.
That's the thing about southpaws too, because of the stance, you see a lot of clash of heads if you're not careful.
A lot of stepping on feet.
Yep.
Both fighters have thought about the takedown here early, about 2.5 minutes in.
They're both trying to find range on each other right now, trying to figure out who's where and what they want to use weapon-wise, feel each other's speed. There's so much power that these guys are throwing around. They got to be cautious.
Pretty good counter right hand from Walt Harris. He's proven to be a very difficult guy to hit cleanly in his UFC career. Evades that Arlovsky offering.
Good kick to the body by Harris.
That
barely
left hook.
missed.
That left hook keeps getting right hook.
Yeah,
Excuse
right
me,
hook.
keeps getting closer and closer. He's finding the timing on that. He's waiting for it.
The FS1 UFC 232 prelims are sponsored by Cerveza Modelo, the official beer of UFC.
Harris is just sitting, laying in wait to try to drop a big punch on, and he connected there.
He's waiting to counter Arlovsky, and it's working right now. He's waiting for Arlovsky to come in. He's ripping the body when Arlovsky comes over the top, and then he's coming off the body to the right hook to the head. Smart by Harris.
And he's covering up well when Arlovsky attacks, and then staying in the pocket looking for that big bomb.
And he's waiting on the way out. When Arlovsky pulls out, he's waiting to land that right hook. And he's going to the body when Arlovsky comes into him.
Under a minute here to go, round one. A lot of feints out of Walt Harris.
Heavy left hand lands by Harris. He's just tucking his chin and winging him. Right hook, left straight down the middle on that one for Harris.
Arlovsky's nose was noticeably more crooked here during fight week. He didn't seem to hint that there was any sort of injury.
I mean, you said the list of fighters he fought. That's what that nose was.
Right. Final 10 seconds of the round.
Great round. Great round. Great round. Hey, maybe sometimes you fake before attack. You fake, okay? Don't forget fake. 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 Okay? Like
Straighten that right hand out. Hit that shift too if there's a law in the action. You clinch him up, wear on him a little bit, all right? But long straight too. Head offline, way offline.
Right? Every time outside. Let the guy, okay?
I thought you had him zapped a little bit. You know what I mean? That left hand, straighten that thing out for me. Set your kicks up, okay? Let me get some drop and pop. When he's coming forward, you can go under and take him down, especially later in the rounds.
If he comes out, you gotta check upstairs.
He's biting on everything. He's biting on everything, Walt.
Next Saturday, Big East basketball heats up the hardwood as Providence hosts the Wildcats of Villanova in a conference matchup. Catch the action next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. All right, round two here. Andrei Arlovsky and Walt Harris, both corners, telling their fighters to straighten out the power hand after round one. The Arlovsky corner calling for more feints and more head movement as well. Stuck the right hand there, and Arlovsky with another firm protest for an eye poke there.
He's getting poked in the eye with a fist.
Yeah, we're going to have to look at that. But
Time! Watch your fingers coming out. I saw that this time.
That one's open, yep.
Andre, stay over there. Stay over there. Whoa, hey.
Andrei Arlovsky is not a guy to protest like
this.
this.
Good?
Never.
That's true.
Stop right there. You got time, okay?
Well, let's take a look at it. The truck is going to run it back for us.
Stand on this side over here. Stay right here. Work it out, okay? You got time. Okay? I'm going to bring in the doctor. He's going to check you out really quick, okay? I'm good. Okay, you're good. Just tell me you're good.
There
and
it
you're
is.
good, okay?
No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
And you see how bad it hurts. I mean, you watch what losing an eye can do to us with the cat fight. It can shut everything down. You can't see.
Okay. Hey, Walter, do me a favor. Hey. Watch your hands. Yes, sir. All right? Yes, sir. Knock it off. All right? You're getting very, very close. Keep it clean, all right? All right. You guys ready? Fight, let's go.
So a stern warning from Mike Beltran to Walt Harris. Harris has had some interesting circumstances in his career. A couple fights ago was disqualified for an illegal head kick against Mark Godbeer in a fight he was winning. Pretty good counter right from Arlovsky.
Good. He listened to his corners on that one, waited for the timing on the takedown, and got it. Harris corner asked for that, and here he is.
Steps over in half guard now. Arlovsky right up to his feet, barely missed that knee.
Takedown defense has been a strong suit for Arlovsky throughout his career. Minimized the damage on that landed takedown from Harris. Again, Harris sort of parrying with that hand open. Hard habit to break for a lot of fighters.
Those are the fakes Harris corners are asking for, but he doesn't do them enough. He'll do it in a second, and then he'll stop. He's got to keep those fakes going. Otherwise, these guys are going to keep staring in the mirror at each other, going power for power. Fakes break that all up.
Arlovsky pretty hard on himself after his last fight against Shamil Abdurrahimov. Was thankful that Dana White gave him this opportunity tonight.
Big left hand by Harris.
All right, let's listen in as Walt Harris lands the left hand to his corner. Chris Connolly front center.
Give me some more.
Yeah.
Give me some more.
Check hook with it. Check hook with that fake.
Give him some more, baby. Give him some more. 2 minutes. Trick him, trick him. Trick him and go.
Come on, Walt.
You're reading everything. You be first. You be first.
You got him right where you want him.
Drop and pop. Set that up.
Dude.
UFC fighter Charles Rosa also in the corner of Walt Harris.
Jabbing, jabbing, stay on the stick.
For a while, Harris trained in Florida at American Top Team. Several camps now in a row, back in Alabama.
That was a good right hand on the break by Arlovsky. Kick blocked. A lot of this fight is these two guys staring at each other like this.
Well, in the first round, you saw Harris be a lot more aggressive. I think getting countered and hit a little bit by Arlovsky's really gave him, he's gotten the respect. Arlovsky's gotten the respect from Harris, and now you're seeing him be a lot more thoughtful about what he chooses to throw.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think Arlovsky is playing a smart game. I mean, he's the experienced veteran. He's just sitting there waiting for Harris to come in and try to drop those counters on him.
Well, Arlovsky looks really good to me. I mean, he's got good balance. He's eating some shots like we always do, but he's fighting well, and he's making right decisions. I think Harris would be better to just put the pressure and start throwing combinations. He's still throwing one at a time, and that's easy for a guy like Arlovsky to read.
Oh, he clipped him with that left hand there.
That right hook of Harris is always close, though. That's the one thing Arlovsky got to keep that left hand up.
I think one of the problems that either fighter is going to face here is that this is a very uneventful fight so far. So who knows how the judges are looking at this.
Arlovsky lands to the body. The numbers nearly identical in terms of the total strikes thrown and landed. All right, 10 minutes down, 5 to go. We'll have him next.
Come on, Andre. Sit down. Third round again. Deep breath. 3 deep breaths. Hey, let's go out there, man. Let's just be all around, man. Let's put him away here. Once you heard him, stay on him. Keep that right hand going. Just make sure your head's offline after that right. But keep making him answer. Keep making him answer after he reacts to you, all right? Hit that blitz with that big.
He's trying to get the takedown and going to try to win the fight right here. You're up 2 rounds to 0. He's got to come out and press, and he doesn't want to. He's already tired, and you've already heard it. He's felt your power. He's intimidated by it. You trick him and go. And now you can trick him with the takedowns as well because you've already taken him down twice. He's biting on that. Come out of those clinches. Come out of those clinches. Come out of those clinches.
Offensive or defensive action. Watch your fingers.
Come out of those clinches with strikes. I love you, baby. Let's go win this round.
All right, back live, ready to go. Third and final round. The final round of fight action after 7 wonderful years between the UFC and Fox. 5+ years here on FS1. And a big 5 minutes in terms of the career trajectory for Walt the Big Ticket Harris against the UFC staple Andre Arlovsky. And that Harris corner, Dom, gave their fighter a whole lot to think about after that second round.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of instruction, but realistically, Harris just needs to throw a combination, stop throwing one at a time, and I'd say start going to the body of Arlovsky. He was having success with that in the first round. He stopped doing it, and I think he should go back to going to the body and countering up top after he gets Arlovsky's biting on the body shots a little. And for Arlovsky, keep that jab going, keep the kicks going, and keep the teep kicks going to the gut of Harris. I think those teep kicks to the gut are really causing issues for him to getting close. Harris hasn't been able to find his range on his kicks at all. He's not setting them up. He's throwing empty kicks without punches beforehand. So his range seems a little off with his kicks lately. Right hook's landing, though. It's continually landing for Harris.
Oh, he stung him.
That was a heavy left hand he ate. He's hurt right now.
We'll see the extent to which Arlovsky has recovered if Harris can apply more pressure here.
Arlovsky lands a right of his own.
And lot of respects, Arlovsky taking shots better now than he did 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, he defies logic in that respect.
These guys are trading now.
Yep.
Awesome. They both know it's come down to this round right here, and they're starting to throw down.
Looks like Arlovsky's lip is contorted in a strange way now, too. Less than 3 minutes now to go.
Don't get cute. We're halfway.
100% knockout rate for Walt Harris in his 11 pro wins, 9 of them in the first round. Might he be looking at his first decision win in the UFC or as an MMA pro tonight?
Win the foot battle. Check him up, check him up, check him up. Yup, check him up, check him up. He's loading up on the right hand, so he's pushing the fence right now. Watch the kick, watch the kick. Don't let him back you up on the fence. Nice defense, baby. Nice defense.
Under 2 minutes now to go as we show you the significant strikes by round. Slight advantage Harris in round 1, Arlovsky in round 2. Nothing doing here in this third and final round.
Definitely a shortage of offense by these gentlemen, but as heavyweights, can't be too surprised because there's a lot of power they're throwing around. But the offense definitely could be higher.
We've seen this happen at times in this UFC heavyweight division where you sort of get into this staring contest situation.
It's the respect of the power, John. I mean, once you eat a couple jabs or even right hands, you start understanding, wow, I'm lucky that one didn't put me out.
Right.
Nobody on the outside knows how that felt from these guys. Now they're staring at each other, not wanting to go night-night. Let's hope in the last minute they're willing to risk it.
Final minute of this one, Arlovsky retreats.
Up and down. Change your level. Drop and pop.
Arlovsky made his UFC debut against Aaron Brink all the way back in November of the year 2000. Left the UFC in 08, returned against Brendan Schaub in 2014, and has been on this roster and pretty active since.
Good right hand to the chest of Walt.
Final 10 seconds, level change from Harris, nothing doing there. All right, Harris and Arlovsky go the distance. The scorecards coming up.
Yeah. Top 15, baby. All 3 rounds, 30-27. I'm only getting better.
Okay.
Back live in LA for the FS1 UFC 232 prelims. And coming up shortly, one of the best pay-per-views of this or any year, huge championship doubleheader beckons. The main course, the rematch between Jones and Gustafsson. Here now, Bruce Buffer with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. Dave Hagan scores the contest 30-27, Arlovsky. Wade Vieira scores it 29-28, Harris. And Ron McCarthy scores the contest 29-28 for the winner by split decision, Walt the Big Ticket Harris.
Walt Harris is your winner by split decision. Our move of the fight is sponsored by Metro by T-Mobile. Get unlimited high-speed data all month long on the same network as T-Mobile.
Very, very close fight, obviously, by the split decision. I was a little bit surprised that one judge gave it to Arlovsky, but there were some good combinations here. And Walt Harris showed that he can get a victory over a guy in Andrei Arlovsky that is still dangerous and incredibly experienced. There's a nice straight left hand from Walt Harris.
Well, as you might expect, with an Inglewood backdrop, the stars are out. WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley is inside the Forum tonight, and also with us, Kelvin Gastelum, just a few weeks away now from his middleweight championship fight against Robert Whittaker at the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne, Australia. Well, we are now just moments away from UFC 232. One final look at this killer main card. Chad Mendes and Alexander Volkanovski to start things off. Then a light heavyweight bout between ranked contenders Ilir Latifi and Corey Overtime Anderson. Michael Chiesa making his UFC welterweight debut tonight against the former interim champion, the natural-born killer Carlos Condit, and that gives way to the championship doubleheader, the women's super fight between the featherweight queen Chris Cyborg and the bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes, who is moving up. And then leading into the light heavyweight championship matchup between John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson. And moments ago, Chris Cyborg making her presence felt, arriving here at the Forum with her chief corner Jason Perillo, wrestling coach Kenny Johnson there as well. One of the hardest workers in the game, man or woman. And Chris Cyborg can secure one of the biggest wins of her career here tonight if she can take down the UFC Women's Bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes. She has won 7 consecutive fights, and she feels like there is no pressure on her whatsoever here tonight. She is certainly the betting underdog, as you might expect, against Chris Cyborg, but she feels like she can turn the MMA world on its axis if she can produce and be the first to solve Chris Cyborg in a mixed martial arts setting since 2005. First fight you will see on pay-per-view, though, features that man, Alexander Volkanovski. He'll bring with him a 15-fight winning streak into this matchup tonight against the 5th-ranked contender, Chad Mendes. All right, to close out this UFC on Fox era now, we turn it over to Joe Rogan with UFC President Dana White.
Dana, this gives us an awesome opportunity to thank Fox for these 7 years of amazing fights. They kicked it off with Junior Dos Santos versus Cain Velasquez, and it's been an amazing ride. We can't thank them enough for being the first network to really take a big chance on the UFC.
Absolutely. Peter Rice and everybody over at Fox, my great friend Eric Shanks, thank you guys for everything you've done for the sport, for the UFC, and for all of our fighters. It's been an amazing 7 years, and we're going to miss you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you all on pay-per-view momentarily.
Era it has been here on FS1. From everyone at the UFC, we thank you eternally. We'll see you on pay-per-view in a few short minutes. Order now!